Hello and welcome back to the College Drive here on Stream City Radio, Stream City Sports, as we pause to take a look at the life and career of Leo Holtz, better known as Coach Lou Holtz. Most well known for his time at Notre Dame, 10 years there. Did take him a national championship in '88. Last championship for the Golden Domers, but the thing with Lou Holtz, and we'll talk about his career and everything in a minute, but here's the thing about Lou Holtz. He is an example of the American dream. Grew up very, very humble beginnings. Did not define him. He was, taught and you can find the videos of him talking about his upbringing, but he was very strong in his faith. That meant a lot. And he attacked life with a purpose. And he is far removed from the poster child of what we think of as a modern college football coach. He wasn't a big guy, physically not a large human being. He didn't have some booming, commanding voice. But what he was a leader of men. And what he understood was, more than anything, if you show people that you care about them, truly care about them, not lip service, not, the things that a lot of people do to build people up, pump them up. And but you show that you truly do care about them as a person, not just as a football player. That one, you'll get more out of them than they believe they can deliver. And you will help them to become the best version of themselves. Because you can demand things from people when they know you care about them that you'll never get from them just because it's in their best interest or because they don't doubt your motives at that point. And Lou Holtz understood that better than most. He compiled a great record, 249, 132, and 7 as a head football coach. And he did not do it at, he spent 10 years at Notre Dame, but he spent time at William & Mary. He spent time at North Carolina State. He spent time at Arkansas, Minnesota, ended up at South Carolina. Not necessarily hanging out in the top 10 of college football, the college football world. And he was successful everywhere he went. That's how you end up at Notre Dame. So, but his coaching career is just the tip of an iceberg. It is, however, an ability to see the glimpse of what he represented and what he believed in, and how you can be a self-made person. And a lot of it came from his faith. I mean, he had a extremely strong faith. And when you have that at the center of your life, not to get too religious here, this is a sports show, but it makes a difference. And he is a shining example of that. He's a shining example of believing in yourself. He is an example of what happens when you have real, true standards in your life and that you hold yourself to accountability. He did all of those things and was very successful because of it. But his quality as a football coach is far surpassed by his quality as an individual. And that's what we get lost a lot of times in the, this win-at-all-cost culture that we have in sports. This guy was a winner. He did it the right way. And, he lived a life in and outside of sports that can be very respected. And I think a lot of times we kind of overlook those things. All we want to look at is the wins and losses. And he had those. Absolutely had them. And 249 wins puts him way up on the list of college football coaches. but it was the man himself. And that's what you hear from people who played for him, people who worked with him, whether it was in the media or whether it was on the field or completely outside of sports. He was just genuinely a truly good human. And that gets overlooked and minimalized way too often in today's society. He is the kind of coach that you would want your son or daughter to play for. Because he didn't just build good players, he built good people. And he understood that, he had come from very difficult, humble beginnings. Born in West Virginia, they were, a bunch of them crammed into a small house. He's talked about it. He can tell the story way better than I can. If you want some inspiration in your life, you're facing some difficulties, you're questioning things, go look up some of his speeches that he's given. He will give you some real perspective about life. And it goes far beyond sporting events. He understood human psychology and understood the human condition better than most scholars you hear talk. Because the man lived it. And he, like I said, he is the perfect example of the American dream. He is not a prototypical come out of the printing press, what you would expect for a college football coach. But to be honest with you, if you look closer at a lot of the truly successful coaches, they weren't necessarily they weren't the Deion Sanders of the world. And that's not throwing shade at Deion, but that's not the prototypical successful pro or college football coach. And I know he had one brief dalliance with the NFL for a year, but it was the Jets, so you get a pass on that. Nobody would expect you to go there and win. The reality is we need more men like Lou Holtz. We need more people like this leading our young people. There's far too few of them. And the man wanted to win. He was a winner. He demanded excellence. But he did it with a balance and a humility and a humanness that you just don't see a lot of. He was never an excuse maker. He never ran away from a challenge. And this is coming from somebody, I'm not a Notre Dame fan, I'm a Georgia fan. You can see it right here on my shirt. He coached at South Carolina, coached at Arkansas. And took William and Mary to the Tangerine Bowl, for goodness sakes, back in, I think, 69. And, he just won everywhere he went. And a lot of that came from holding himself to a very, very high standard. Because otherwise you end up being a hypocrite. And hypocrites are found out. They are. You can do anything for a short period of time. You can put on any disguise you want for a short period of time and make it work. But if you're going to make a long run and you are going to be there for the long haul, you have to be genuine. And the one thing Lou Holtz was absolutely, he was what you saw. And, he did what he felt was the right thing, whether somebody was looking or not. And that's one of the definitions of having character. And he absolutely had it. And like I said, this is just me looking from afar and being a huge college football fan and understanding greatness when you see it. And, let's face it, it took Notre Dame a long, long time to even get close to where he had them once he left. And the one thing you can say about Notre Dame back in those days, they absolutely had a high standard, and I believe they probably still do. It's a changing landscape of college football, but he was never one to look for shortcuts. And, we need more Lou Holtzes in the world. And, that this is the kind of thing you want to see. This is the kind of person, go beyond the coach, this is the kind of person that we want leading young men and women and developing their character, because he had it. You can't develop in somebody else something you don't possess. And he absolutely had it in spades. So, and then we can look at the numbers. He was at William & Mary from 69 to 71. He was NC State from 72 to 75. That short little time with the New York Jets. Arkansas for 6 years, 77 through 83. University of Minnesota, 84 through 85. Notre Dame, 86 to 96 with that national championship in there. And then South Carolina from 99 to 2004. And really took over a program that was struggling mightily when he got there. Like we said, Notre Dame, he went 12-0, won the Fiesta Bowl, and he took 6 different programs to bowl games. That speaks to, and where was he? 6 different places. So that speaks to his just consistency. And, he started out at Iowa, where he ended up getting a master's degree. He was an assistant there. He was a walk-on linebacker at Kent State from 56 to 57. He spent some time as an assistant at Connecticut, South Carolina, Ohio State in 68 when they won a national title. So he'd kind of made the rounds. He was born in Follinsby, West Virginia. Grew up in East Liverpool, Ohio, which is where he graduated high school from. And like I said, went to Kent State. They've been known to turn out a good coach or two, have the golden flash. He also was he was in the U.S. Army Reserves and the Officer Training Corps, and earned a commission as a field artillery officer. And when graduated in 59 was a bachelor's degree from Kent State, and then went on to get his degree in arts and education from University of Iowa in 1961. He was a graduate assistant there at the time. Like I said, made stops as an assistant William & Mary for a couple of years, Connecticut for a year. At William & Mary, when he got his first head coaching job in 69, played Southern. They played the Southern Conference at the time, and he led them to a trip to the Tangerine Bowl in 1970. Went on to North Carolina State, where he was 33-12-3 in 4 seasons. His 73 team won the ACC championship. They played 4 bowl games while I was there with a 2-1-1 record. He went from there to tragically coach for the Jets, which anytime you go coach for the Jets, he beat out Johnny Majors and Darryl Rogers and Marv Levy for that spot. He stayed there 10 months. The Jets went 3-10. His quote, and this is a great one, he lamented when he stepped down, God did not put Lou Holtz on this earth to coach the pros. So there you go. Some would question if you're coaching the Jets whether you were actually coaching the pros or not, but that's a story for a different day. At Arkansas, Coach Holtz got back to his winning ways, compiling a 60-21-2 record, something the Razorback fans would kill for right now. Went to 6 bowls, and in 77, he took them to the 78 Orange Bowl against the Sooners, and played Barry Switzer. He played Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl. Just the dude just won everywhere he went. After 9-2-1 record in 78 with the Razorbacks and a Fiesta Bowl berth against UCLA, they end up with a 10-2 record and a share of the Southwest Conference Championship in 79. His 80 team slipped to 7-5, but beat Tulane in the Hall of Fame Classic. An 81 squad finished 8-4 after losing North Carolina in the Gator Bowl. Holtz and his 82 Hogs finished 9-2-1 with a record after a Blue Bonnet Bowl victory over Florida. He was dismissed after a 6-5 campaign in 83. At that time, Frank Broyles had resigned because he was tired and burnt out. At the time, athletic director Frank Broyles stated that Holtz had resigned because he was tired and burnt out and was not fired. So one would hope that's the way it went with the record and the run he'd been on. 1-6-5 record, not even a losing record. So, like I said, the Hog fans would be more than happy to go down that road right now. He did take the job at Minnesota, which might lead you to believe that maybe Broyles was just taking a high road there, because he was right back at it in the Big Ten in 85, 7-5. Defeated Clemson in the Independence Bowl 20-13. And then, of course, ends up going to his contract when he signed with Minnesota had an out clause for Notre Dame, is what is reported. So he ends up going to Notre Dame, and the rest is kind of history. You get the national championship there at Notre Dame, reach the pinnacle of everything. You step away for a little while, and you come back and take over South Carolina team that at the time was, had gone 1-10. I mean, total reclamation project. I remember when he got there. His second season, they go 8-4. So, and end up winning the Outback Bowl over Ohio State. So, that is a massive turnaround in a short period of time. So you got to, the guy earned a ton of respect on the football field from players, coaches, opponents, the media, and just hats off to Lou Holtz, and a life well lived, and rest in peace. He was a true gentleman. Carolyn tells a story of actually running into him when he was coaching at South Carolina at a McDonald's of all places out near Myrtle Beach, and was just such a gracious gentleman. And he will be missed by everyone and remembered fondly by just about everybody. We'll be back in a moment with more on Stream City Radio, streamcity.org, Stream City Sports.